Hello, I'm Tony, and welcome to the Tony Shap Show. Well, welcome back, everybody. This week, I have Antonio on the phone with us via Zoom. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it, I'm super excited to have him. I'm super pumped. I know we booked this a few weeks ago, and I couldn't wait to get him on here. We've been talking before. So I just personally wanted to welcome you to the Tony Shap Show, Antonio.
I'm glad to be here. Really looking forward to it.
All right, let's dive right in. So what is your one word open that you could use to let us know how you're feeling in this moment?
Strong.
Strong. Good one. Unique. I love
Yeah.
it. So share with us about your business and about your personal story, Antonio. How you got started, where you are today, and where you're going. That way, our audiences that listening to this, they could be on the same page with you and know you a little bit more, like the way I've gotten to know you.
So it all started back when I was born, and no, I'm
I
just
love
messing with you. Yeah, no. So just I think like anyone who likes to solve problems, I just started as that. I always had a lot of ideas. I love solving problems, and I love that feeling of providing value. That's something that just feels genuinely good, and it's something that allowed me to navigate my career from starting in product to running my own sites to working in growth marketing back in my Maynard days, to founding Growth Roadmap. And it just comes from that need of like, I really enjoy the process of finding a solution, like finding a problem and solving it. And I feel like most people, those problems started with challenges that I faced. So my current company, Growth Roadmap, came from my time as a content creator, specifically on my newsletter, but then digging into social, so platforms such as TikTok, which we found each other, and it just came from that experience of I feel like in order to truly solve a big problem or a problem that resonates with you, it requires empathy, and in order to get that level of empathy, you have to have founder market fit, or what they like to call it, but you need to know firsthand what that problem is. Some people, they don't need that. For me, I do need to be that person. And that is what led me to found my company, Growth Roadmap, which was the fact that as a creator, there's so much work that needs to be done. But unlike a company, you don't have a team. And not everyone has a David Dorbick budget right off the bat. So it was, how do I provide cost-effective solutions to help creators grow their business? Because I'm very bullish on the fact that people are the new brands. And yeah, so that's how I found myself here so far. And right now we're just focused on serving creators, not just like myself, both larger and smaller, but that's the current mission right now, is the creators that we serve.
That's awesome. Audience, as you're listening to this, Antonio is a super humble guy. He's got a great background. He worked for VaynerMedia. I'm sure we've all heard of Gary Vee. So so Antonio is a highly capable person. He's a leading authority with what he does, but he's very humble and down to earth, and he keeps it. So which I appreciate, and I respect that. So let's move right along to some wins. If you could share with us a recent win that you've had that is important to you in business context, and also what you learned from it, so our audience could also have some takeaways too.
Yeah, I think the biggest one is always it's always that first customer. So the idea of Growth Roadmap, it originally started in the summer, but I had to lay off my team and shut down the project just because shut down the business because we weren't bringing in money, we were struggling. So I had this idea from my experience working in consulting roles with creators, and just talking with them, and I found out again that they needed help on content creation, content strategy. And when I had that idea, I said, you know what, why don't I bring back that original vision of Growth Roadmap? And before I had this site, like I still owned the domain, but before the site was set up for anyone to actually go and sign up on it, I posted on Reddit, on a Reddit thread, and I posted in that thread and I said, hey, I have a company that helps creators with their content creation, their video editing, graphic design, that kind of thing. And within 6 hours, I got a request for someone that needed help. And within 2 hours, I had to redo the entire site on the fly. Shout out to Webflow for being just a great product. And I ended up getting the first customer. And it was just, I think that's that scrappiness that comes with a startup. That was the first one. And I was like, wait a second, an entire summer trying to make something work, no traction, 6 hours, one post on a Reddit thread, no paid spend. It wasn't even outbound email yet. It was simply a Reddit post. And the fact that that was able to turn into one customer, that was a big one. And I'm a big believer that if you can get one, you can get a million.
100%. So that was a 3 month overnight success within like 6 hours, or a 3 month 6 hour success, right? That's
Yeah,
really cool.
it was it was crazy. I was like, what is going on here? But hey, timing is everything, and success isn't linear. So
Absolutely. And let's talk about the other side of that. So what's I know you kind of briefly touched on it. So what's something that you've done that didn't go so well, and what you learned from it? So that way someone that's listening to this, if they're a founder, if they're an investor that's advising to founders, or they're just simply looking to get into this space, or for their business, so to speak. And what's that one thing that you did? And if you, by you sharing that with them, they could avoid that pothole, so to speak.
it's a little bit layered, but I would say one is hyper focus, and being extremely focused. So I scaled too quickly. I had team members coming on doing things that I expected to do before we got our first customer.
Hmm.
And I wasn't focused on start small. Like I said, you know what? Let me just focus on one thing, one person, one sale at a time. Just in the beginning, and I went through that process. I onboarded the first client, went through everything myself so I can know where that pain point is. And I would just say the one pitfall was that I was too scattered. I was thinking 10 steps ahead, and we didn't even have a customer yet. So it's like, it's just focus. And I think that's something that's really hard, especially when you're a founder, you're a CEO, you're in a leadership position, is that you have such a grand vision. And I'm fortunate that I was able to attract people for that, but I didn't have the focus in order to successfully lead us to where I know we could have gotten.
No, I love what you said, because that's going to be huge for a lot of people if they're listening there to that. And I talk to entrepreneurs, and we fall in love with our process, and right. And then on top of that, they get so fixated in like office space. I've brought this up before many times, and VCs agree with it too. Like they don't have the revenue, or they don't have the headcount, but they're like looking at new office space. Like, dude, don't do that. Like,
Yeah.
and I did that too in the beginning. Like, I remember calling my accountant. My accountant's like, Tony, I'm gonna hang up the phone and get back to work. Like, you're not getting another office. You don't need double space. So
Yeah.
you're right. So that's really great. So cool. So let's talk about some. So that the listener right now, they're wondering how you could help them, or maybe a couple wins that you've helped other people achieve by working with you. If you could share that with us, that would be valuable.
Yeah, so a lot of my experience is working with creators, but before that, it was also on the brand side. So I worked with a few direct-to-consumer brands, CPG brands such as We Move, Sun Butter. But I would say the biggest ones I'm proud of come on the creator side, because they're like the modern day small businesses. So one content creator, an influencer at the time with 400K followers. We were able to get her to 700K followers within a couple of months, and grow her email list from 0 to about 20,000 people. And that was just one, just digging through the data, or the limited data there was, but it was just the system, the basics. And I would say that would be one of the most recent ones that I'm really proud of. And the others that I worked early stage with a company called As We Move that recently is just crushing it. I don't want to disclose their numbers because they haven't, but limited funding, and they're pulling in seven figures, and it was just help getting their foundation together. And that those are the biggest things. Is I'm more of a systems and a content guy, and hence why I make so much content. And I think that's where the biggest opportunity now is. Brands and both people are realizing that in order to
Mhm.
cut through the noise, in order to grow, you need content. Whether that's content supported by paid media or organic content, it all comes down to what is that storytelling element, and how do you weave that in a way that not only acquires but nurtures and converts. And that's just something I'm really good at, is that I know how to make content. I do it myself. I'm a practitioner, and I really help my clients like narrow that in. Here's how you make content. Here's the content you need to be making. Here's what the audience wants, and here's how you turn that into purchases or signups or whatever the KPI is.
Awesome. Speaking of acquisitions, so talk to me about how you're acquiring new clients right now.
So right now, the one, a lot of Reddit posts, but the other is a lot of outbound email, and not just kind of like your typical, hey, buy my product, buy, like, sign up for my service. It's going through targeted profiles that I've set up based on my market research and reaching out and engaging with their content and actually doing, it's doing unscalable things. And a scalable method. So it's doing a lot of research on accounts before going out to them, and then reaching out to them via email. So account-based marketing, but the account in this regard are creators. So a lot of those meetings, a lot of that interest is coming strictly from email, but it's through those unscalable parts of the process of just, engaging with content, finding if people are right fit. Do they fit the target client, the target customer profile, and then just doubling down on that.
Awesome. Can we talk TikTok for a second?
Absolutely. That's how we
Okay.
met. Oh,
Yeah, I know you're crushing it. So, but for business owners that I try to have a conversation about TikTok, first of all, sometimes people just discount it, or if they don't understand it, they just put it aside or it's over their head, which, hey, I respect that, whatever it is. And that's what a lot of people said about Facebook and Instagram. And now, they're spending 30 grand a day on ad spend on just FB. So, and but, and I try to tell those entrepreneurs, like, you don't have to understand it to win business from it, right? Or to add value. So, but specifically talking TikTok, what's your experience been like for TikTok, first of all? And then second of all, for that influencer listening, how could they use TikTok if they were to work with you to take it to the next level, or a business owner?
So I'll give out the secret sauce, and a few creators might be upset with me, but the one thing about TikTok is it's extremely easy to grow organically. And if anyone who knows how it is playing in the Facebook and Google land, it's expensive. So you can grow organically, and while you might grow organically, you just have to really know your product. So is your product relevant to a younger audience? Or which is now a fast growing demo on TikTok is the 40 and up range. So it's not just for kids dancing. It's just one of those opportunities of, you need to diversify your acquisition channels, and TikTok is one of the most impressive channels that I've seen as of late. And I feel that it's a tool set that any brand should be using to reach a new audience, or to at least grow and transfer that following to their other channels. That's the other thing, is like, you don't have to, you shouldn't look at one channel as just being a cash cow. It should be, how do I establish my brand on this channel? Is there a way for me to collect emails? Is there a way for me to collect phone numbers? What can I use as a way to point traffic to my website? And TikTok is that. And the best part about it is you can go from 0 to 100 followers overnight. You have to get on the platform, and you just see a lot of brands that don't do that. The other aspect is, there are a lot of creators or people who weren't initially creators that have become influencers overnight, and they have no idea what they're doing on the platform. They're not sure yet. They want to build relationships with brands, but there aren't brands that are actually reaching out to them. So there's an influencer arbitrage opportunity of going out onto the platform and reaching out to people with highly engaged brands, not only to bring your brand top of mind, but you can own that link in bio real estate. So it's creating relationships that ultimately all drive back to your brand. And a lot of marketers, founders, they live in the lens of Facebook and Instagram ads. But the unfortunate truth now is that, well, not the unfortunate truth, the great truth is that there are organic opportunities. There are other channels that can be really profitable, and TikTok is one of them. You have to get on there and test. And I think that's the one opportunity that brands are severely underestimating.
Definitely. And if an influencer or brand or wants to go on TikTok, would you be able to help them with that?
Absolutely. I work directly. So while I still work on, I'm growing growth roadmap, but I still advise influencers. So people with 1 million followers looking to connect with brands. I negotiate those brand deals for them. So I know the space, I know the rates. and brands would be really surprised that there's a big opportunity to partner with influencers. Influencers want to partner with the brands, and brands just need to reach out to them. But you have to know what you're looking for when it comes to picking the right creators.
That's really great, because if I'm a brand and want to connect with the influencer, I would come to you, cut out the third party, right? And then
Cut
you
out
could
the
just connect. Yeah.
Yep.
There's all these third party platforms that connect the publishers and the advertisers, where you could just, yeah.
And
Enough said.
that's more money. You
Yeah.
third party needs to take a portion of that. So it's just you don't want to, you want to own the relationship with your influencers. You don't want someone else having to talk to them on other terms. You want to own that process as much as possible. And there are a lot of people who want to have that connection with brands. So it's an opportunity.
Beautiful. So how could our listeners get a hold of you if they want to reach out to you?
So if you want to get in touch with me, you can definitely shoot me an email. Follow me on Twitter, pretty active. My Twitter DMs are some of the best ways to get in touch with me. And then I also have a newsletter, so you can sign up for that and shoot me a note. But Twitter DMs, and then just good old fashioned email. I started email marketing, so some old habits die hard.
Yeah.
But those are the best ways to get in touch with me.
Awesome. It'll definitely be in the show notes as well for those of you listening or watching. So as we're coming to an end, sadly, what's the one word close that we could wrap it up with before we sign off?
Ooh, the one word close. Experiment. It's just you're not seeing a lot of brands want to test things out, and their budgets are suffering. So experiment and be open, or experiment and then just, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming on to the show and sharing those items of value that you gave us. It's a lot of huge ones that people are going to walk away with some solid values. So thanks again.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Of course, looking forward to having you back on here soon.
Me too. Cool.
Thanks. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed it, and great to have you, and thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode. Till next time, onwards and upwards.